Hey y'all, it's Tia Cherie here. Welcome back to my channel. And in this week's video, we are talking 3 easy steps to become your best self in 2023. So obviously it is a new year. We are all looking to level up, and it does not have to be as hard as we think it is. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 quick tips on how to make sure you are your best self this year and beyond. So if you're interested in that, make sure you guys keep watching and stay tuned. So tip number 1 on how to become your best self in 2023 is reflection. Reflecting back on the year that has passed is so important to getting yourself in a good space and just seeing where you are and where you want to improve in. A lot of times the days kind of just keep going, and then the months are passing, and then before we know it, a whole nother year has passed. How many times do we say, Happy New Year, and before we know it, it's the middle of summer? The time just continues to keep escaping us, and we don't really get a chance to kind of reflect on the things that are going on, and it's more so something that we do in hindsight, which is not a problem. But I feel like in order to become your best self, whether it's this year, in a couple months, a couple days, whatever the case is, you do need to reflect on things of the past. And what I mean by reflection is just kind of take an inventory, see how far you've come, see what goals you accomplished that you set for yourself last year. How did you get those attained? How do you feel now that you have attained them? Is that something that you want to continue to build on? Is that something where it kind of wasn't what you thought it would be when you first started out on the journey? Just kind of reflect on those things, because a lot of time we don't realize the progress that we have made, and sometimes it can, when reflecting, if we can see how far we've come, it can help us kind of get that momentum to keep going, or to apply that same, drive and ambition to another goal that we do have. Another part of reflecting is seeing what was good and what was bad. Do you feel like 2022 was a good year for you? If so, why? What were some of the things that were going on? Did you spend a lot of time with family? Did you go to the gym a lot? Did you have good grades in school? Did you make better relationships, with your spouse, or, things of that nature? What made it a good year for you? When you can think of the things that actually filled your cup and satisfied you, that just allows you to now know what to do moving forward, and to do more of that so that you can continue to feel good and in good spirits. And on the other side of that, if last year was not a good year for you, why wasn't it? Was it anything that was in your control to handle or to work on? Was it kind of, maybe you didn't accomplish all the goals that you wanted to, that you thought that you were going to do? Maybe it was just a tough year in general. Just kind of reflect on that, but also let that go. It's very important to let go of what we see as failures or whatever, in order to be able to move forward. Forgive yourself for the things that you didn't do or you didn't accomplish, or mistakes that you may have made, things of that nature. And don't let that come into the new year and bring you into the new year in a negative mindset. You have a clean slate. You have another chance to do it again. And even if, every day isn't perfect, every morning that you wake up, you have another chance to get it right, whatever that right may be for you. So in order to become your best self in 2023, just taking a moment to sit back and reflect is super, super important to your growth. So reflecting is the most important part to me of being able to take an inventory of how you want to show up as your best self this year. Tip number 2 on becoming your best self in 2023 is changing your identity. When I say changing your identity in 2023, I want you to learn how to show up as your best self. What does that person look like? What does she do? Is she a morning person? Is she a gym girly? Does she go to the Starbucks every day? Does she read every day? Does she meet up with friends for like brunch every other week? Is she at a job where she's so happy that she's there, she's moving up in the ladder? Does she have a business that she absolutely loves to go to? Like, what is your identity and how do you want want to show up as that identity this year. One of the things that I say as far as changing your identity is writing it out, right? Like, what is your ideal day? What does your ideal life look like? You have to start putting yourself in the mindset of your ideal life and ideal self so that you can start to work towards those, dreams and aspirations. So what I would say is, when I say change your identity, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a gym girly? Do you want to be one of the girls that are in the gym, 5 days a week with the cute little Lululemon, workout sets with the water bottles, gym bag, here sweating, squatting my life away? Is that the type of girl that you want to be? If so, you need to start showing up as her. You need to start the momentum to build up that person that you see for yourself. Are you one of the girls who, wants to be a morning person, right? Say, for instance, you are used to literally rolling out of bed at, 8:50 right before you have to clock in at 9, and you barely had a chance to brush your teeth. But you want to be one of the girls that wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and have a whole, morning routine and do skincare and, blah, blah, blah before they clock into work. Well, guess what? You have to change how you see yourself. The things that you have done have not gotten you the results that you're looking to get. So that means that it's time to change and do something differently. With change, whenever you see change or whenever you're trying to build something that is new to you, you have to envision yourself in that position in order to really start to attain that, right? You cannot keep doing the same things that you're doing and expect different results. That is the definition of insanity. We're not going to be insane this year. We're going to be delusional, a little delusional, but we're not going to be insane. So we're going to do things that are going to push us out of our comfort zones and get us to the next level of where it is that we need to be so that we can be our best selves. You cannot get there by staying in the background, right? You have to push yourself forward. You have to start showing up as this person. And the more that you show up, the easier it is for you to embody the person that you are wanting to become. So let's start to change those identities. Let's start to change the way we think about ourselves. Let's start to change the way we view things and show up as our ideal self. And the last step, which is step number 3 on how to become our best selves in 2023, is creating an action plan. If we do not put any action behind the goals or things that we are setting out to achieve and to attain, we are not going to get them. At that point, you just hoping, you just wishing, you just dreaming. You cannot do anything without actual action. Making an action plan can look very different for everyone. We are very much in a digital age where everything is done via our phones and apps and all of these things. So if that works for you, then stick with it. Find an app that, works for you. If you are somebody who likes to just write things in your notes, or you like to, block out time on your calendar, whatever it is, find the system that works for you. Me personally, I am a pen to paper type of girly. So I like to write things out. So I will sit down with my planner and write things out. Sometimes I do it as far as like a month in advance. Sometimes I do it just like on the weekly basis. It kind of just depends on what the goal is, but I always have something as far as a plan written down that I want to then achieve. I'm also someone who gets gratification from checking things off my to-do list. So for me, that's why it's very important to write it out, because that makes me or reinforces to me that I'm actually accomplishing the things that I have set out for myself. So when you think of your action plan, think about it in an aspect of who is your ideal self and what would they want you to be accomplishing, or what would they be accomplishing, for instance, right? So if your ideal self and your best self is someone who wakes up at 6 a.m., who goes to the gym in the mornings, has like a nice little morning routine, and then kind of just works on themselves before they start their, work day or, things of that nature. then you're going to make a plan of how to do that, right? So say for instance, you decide that you're going to start to wake up at 6 a.m. And maybe it doesn't have to be an everyday thing. You can actually write it down. Maybe instead of 5 days a week, you do it 3 days a week, right? Slow and steady still wins the race, right? So I don't want you to shock yourself per se into just changing into this whole new person overnight if that's not something that you can realistically uphold, right? A lot of times with New Year's resolutions, we bite off more than we can chew and we set very unrealistic goals for ourselves and then get mad when we don't achieve them. It's a little hard to go from nothing to 100, right? So kind of find a middle ground. Now, me personally, I am someone who likes to go from 0 to 100. So for me, when I decided that I wanted to start waking up earlier, it was just a matter of, girl, wake up, like get up. So I started to set my alarm for earlier times. And then I also started to set it for like short intervals in between so that I set multiple alarms. So if I made the mistake of pressing snooze the first time, here it comes again. So I don't really have much time in between before I'm like, you know what, just get up. That happened to be what worked for me. And now it's just like second nature to wake up early. So really make a plan of how you want to achieve the goal. Whatever you feel best to kind of help you to see your progress as you're working on it, because positive reinforcement is going to help you be able to sustain that. If they say it takes 21 days to build a habit, something like that. So it's a little learning curve, in the beginning. It's a little bit of, trial and error. But once you kind of get into the momentum, you can see how much you've accomplished, which will just kind of help you to continue to do that. So one thing that I have definitely realized about myself is that I am a girl who likes to check things off. I am someone who likes to see the progress that I'm making, because sometimes we're just going through and not really realizing that we are progressing. So sit down and write out your action plan of how it is that you're going to show up as your best self this year, and just watch and see how much progress you make and how good you feel at the end of the year. And that is it for this week's video, 3 steps on how to become your best self in 2023. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that bell notification. Also, leave me some comments down below. Who is your best self? What do you want to show up as this year so that you can have one of your best years yet? What are some of the things that you guys are working on? And also give me some things on what you would like to see from the channel. I am going to be showing up as my best self this year, and that means sticking to my goals and being disciplined. And I told you guys, we about to turn this YouTube channel up. So you will be getting a video from me every week for 2023. So your girl needs some help with some video topics. But aside from that, I hope that you guys have started your year off great. And even if you didn't have the greatest of a start, it is not too late to turn it around and get things back on track. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys on the next one.